Good evening, NorCal Carters. It's Monday, October 19th. And Halloween's in a couple weeks. Rock the Rios in a couple weeks. The Sonoma Rock event is this weekend. There was a lot going on last weekend. Speed Vegas is going on this weekend for the NCK Road Racers. So, yeah, it's October. The calendar year is almost over, but there's still a lot of quality racing going on. So let's just do a quick recap. This past weekend, the Blue Max Kart Club, they were hosting the Vintage Kart Club of America. They were doing a swap meet and a gathering, and that was on the Friday, Saturday of last weekend. Prairie City, the 80 guys, so the NorCal 80 group, you can find their Facebook page, obviously on Facebook, because I said Facebook page. But the NorCal 80 group is getting stronger and stronger, and they kind of took over Prairie City on Sunday. So I think they had 22 official 80s on the track that day for a practice day, and it seemed like a lot of them had a good time. I personally would have been out there, but I actually went down to Santa Maria. So I was hanging out with Team Visalia in Santa Maria at the Central Valley Championship, which is the cckra.com, and that was their season finale, and you couldn't ask for better weather. It was right around 80 degrees. It was clear, not too much fog, which sometimes you can run into on the coast. It was a great time. I'm really glad I took the time to go down there. It's a long drive for us in NorCal. It's about a 5-hour drive pulling the trailer. But man, it was fun. We set up a barbecue with Team Visalia, and Rob from Illuminos rolled his grill over, and so we had a big grill barbecue going on. I think the Team Visalia guys, they had 14 or 15 entries for the race. So that group just keeps growing, and they're a great group of dudes, and everyone was hanging out and having a good time. It was a lot of fun. I'm a little burnt out right now, so I'm a little bit scatterbrained. But mainly just because I'm burnt out. It was a long weekend with the drive and everything else. Not complaining, just all of you know how it is. You're trying to load for an event. I was already mad at myself because it took me 2 days to load the trailer to go down to Santa Maria. So I'm already just mad. I knew it was going to take a day because I'm still trying to figure out where I want everything in the trailer. And sometimes I OCD a little bit. I'm not organized, but I get OCD on certain things where I want certain tie wraps for certain carts, and I want to make sure those are always the tie downs for those carts. And I brought down a bunch of tires, some Evenco Reds and Evenco Blues. And for those that don't know, we have a retire program, and it's basically low-hour tires that we sell for $100 a set. So I brought down about 20 sets, and I was trying to figure out how to put them in the trailer so they stayed stacked all the way down. It's any of you that load up for the track, probably, I know all of you go through the same thing. Just like, where does this go? Where does that go? And when you do it enough times, you have a system. So when I go to the track as a mechanic, I have a system. I know what tables to grab. I know what toolboxes to grab. I know which is my call it my little data bag, which has all my notes, my paperwork, my stopwatch, etc. And but the last time I actually raced it out of the trailer was last year, which is pathetic. So I was a little bit lost, even though I have a checklist that's 2 pages long. It helped, but it didn't shorten the loading process. And then one thing I really ran into, you got to be prepared. So I took my Briggs cart down. I took my shifter down. The Briggs, I just brought it down in case someone wanted to jump in and go drive it. And I couldn't remember the state I left it in the last time I drove it 2 years ago. And so I thought I filled up the gas tank with MS-98. Everyone out there in Briggs land knows you don't run racing fuel, but I worked at an engine shop. I had racing fuel in the garage. It was easy. I thought I had MS-98 in my Briggs gas tank. And so I'm sitting there looking at it, and I'm trying to get it to fire, and it won't fire up. It's like, man, what's going on with this thing? And the reason I didn't fire it up before I left was because I sold my muffler, my exhaust system, off the cart to a friend a couple of months ago. So I had ordered one, and I was just going to go pick it up at RLV on my way down. So it's just one of those deals. I parted out a cart. I couldn't fire it up. Thought I had MS-98 in it. Get to the track. I start working on it. And so this is on Friday. I left early on Friday so I can unload and kind of give everything a last look over. And I'm cranking on it. It just won't fire up. And I was thinking to myself, well, it has MS-98 in it anyway. I got to drain the gas tank, go get pump fuel. Well, I forgot to get pump fuel on the way down. So Saturday morning, I ran into town real quick, grabbed some breakfast and lunch, some sandwiches from Spencer's Market, that was a really nice sandwich, and went to the gas station, got my gas, filled up the tank, still wouldn't run. It's like, what's going on? So I looked inside the gas tank. The cart had been sitting so long that the brass pickup was completely corroded. My MS-98 fuel that I thought was in the cart was dissolved fuel line. And obviously it wasn't picking up any fuel because there was no fuel line inside the tank to pick it up. So there goes an hour cleaning out the tank, and I had to borrow an empty gas jug from Glenn, a Rocky from PKS. So I'm going back and forth trying to move all this gas around, and so that wasn't prepared. But why am I telling you the story? Do not let your cart sit with gas in them. And I always told customers, don't let carts sit with gas. Looking back at it, I didn't remember when I filled it up. I thought I filled it up with MS-98. Apparently I filled it up with pump fuel, and the pump fuel ate the fuel line, corroded the fuel pickup, so it had that MS-98 blue color, but it was not MS-98. And so that was that was my Saturday morning. I wasn't going to run it right away, but again, just not being prepared. So don't let pump fuel sit in your gas tanks. And I'm lucky it wasn't sitting in the carburetor, because it would probably ruin the carburetor. And if you're wondering how I know that, it's because the engine was fresh. And so I must have had that fuel in there for 2 years like a dummy. So don't do that. But yeah, so Santa Maria was a blast. I mean, just hanging out with all the guys. There was a lot of good driving on the track. There was the Briggs senior class looked pretty decent. To be fully transparent, my plan was to race the shifter. And I was a little bit off pace. I was about 2 seconds off the pace. And when you take someone like Clinton Shumby and throw them in your cart and they go 2 seconds faster than you, you kind of just shut the fuck up. Ooh, excuse my language if kids are listening. You shut up, you get in the cart, and you drive till you're 2 seconds faster. So I was doing that. I went out for qualifying, and I'm kind of messing around with the fuel system, and I was goofing around with it right before qualifying, and somehow I stuck the engine in the bus stop at the end of the straightaway. Engine was not too lean because it ran fine the day before. If it stuck at all, it should have stuck when Clinton drove it, because he was 2 seconds faster than me. But I remember sitting there messing with the fuel system right before qualifying, and I need to evaluate it. I was kind of just mad at myself. I was like, man, of all people to stick an engine, you stick an engine. So I stuck the engine, and if it was a customer's cart, I would have got elbows deep in there, pulled the cylinder off, cleaned up the cylinder, put a new piston in it, break it in on the stand, get them ready for the heat race. But it was me, so I parked it. I was like, I'll go put the Briggs cart on the track. Well, I couldn't remember where I left the Briggs cart. And so I had a big sticker on the steering wheel that said align the cart. And didn't align it, went out. Cart didn't handle very well, came in, checked the alignment. And, I was way off. I had to use my t-shirt behind the lasers to find the dots. So it didn't handle very well. And that was one heat race. And then, so I got it realigned and got it better, went back out. And it still wasn't like it used to be. And again, I don't remember how I left the cart. And so I said, okay, that's it. I'm done for the day. So I kind of just started cleaning the carts up, packing up, watched a couple more of the heats for the rest of the day, and packed it up. So don't go to the track unprepared. Unless your main reason to go to the track is to hang out, which I probably could have just hopped in my wife's car, drove down there, and drove one of their carts. But in hindsight, it was nice that I had my carts out there and driving them, etc. I'm actually going to go. This motivated me to go to Prairie City tomorrow. So tomorrow's a Tuesday. They're supposed to have Briggs guys show up at the track on Tuesdays. So I am now motivated to go to the track. I'm going to go work with the Briggs, figure out where I left off with it, get it working. And that's going to be tomorrow. So that was last weekend. That was 11 minutes out of your life right there. So the Vintage Kart Club of America was at Blue Max. Prairie City had a bunch of 80s. And the Central Valley Championship, cckra.com. Thank you guys for sponsoring our site this year. They were one of our calendar sponsors. So cckra.com. They had their season finale. And it was a lot of fun. Knowing everything that happened, if those guys called me up and I knew all this was going to happen, I'd still go down there. Great group of dudes. The CCKRA did a really nice job of running everything. It's laid back like a club, but they have a schedule. They have a printed schedule so you know when you're going out. Everything was organized, but it wasn't a complete thrash all day. I was thrashing a little bit because I was unprepared, but that had nothing to do with the racing calendar or the schedule. It had to do with me not being prepared showing up at a track, which was lame on my part. So, fast forward. This weekend, NCK Road Racing, Speed Vegas. And I'm really going to be watching this event. And then next week, I'll have Mark Morrison on from NCK, and he's going to give us a recap of how the event went. But for those that don't know or haven't listened to one of my previous podcasts, if you haven't, this is actually our 99th episode right here. So 99 episodes of our podcast. This is number 99. So if you have any ideas for 100, episode 100, let me know. So, NCK Road Racing, nckroadracing.com, they were also a calendar sponsor. They have their event in Las Vegas at the Speed Vegas track on October 25th. And it happens to be the same weekend as the Rock Sonoma series finale. They're doing a doubleheader. Saturday, they're running one layout. Sunday, they're running another layout. I've been told Friday will be an official practice. So the Rock Sonoma will have official practice on Friday, race Saturday, separate race because it's a doubleheader, different layout on the track on Sunday. So that should be a lot of fun. I'll be up there Friday morning working with the Cameron Karting crew and Christian Cameron. I've been told that we might be doing double duty, so I'm looking forward to that. And the Rock Sonoma group is also doing cash prizes. So give me one moment here so I can actually give you the real details. I'm running out of screen space. Then I'm thinking maybe I just need multiple monitors, but then my ADD will kick in. So just bear with me for a second because it's, like I said, it's cash prizes. So this is on top of their yearly prizes that they had already been offering. So on top of that. So the way it's going to work out, for all entries that run both Saturday and Sunday, there is a 500 randomly drawn ticket entry. I don't know how they're going to do it. Probably off entry forms, etc. They'll have to do it on Sunday because they'll have to know who ran both Saturday and Sunday. So randomly drawn, a $500 prize will be awarded to anyone eligible that runs both Saturday and Sunday. So that's one prize. In addition to that, they are also doing cash prizes for the junior 100cc class, the senior 100cc class, the Vortex Mini Rock, and the Vortex Micro classes. So there you have it. Cash, cash, cash. I know a lot of times people, ask for cash. Well, Rock Sonoma, Cameron Karting, and Sanzaru, they're stepping up and putting cash back into the pockets of racers. And so that's going to total, an additional $1,500. Let's see. Oh, Kimberly's chiming in. So there's actually going to be a practice on Thursday as well. Thursday, Friday practice this week. It's going to be run by the track, not the series. So the track will be running the practice, not the series. So this should be really neat. A good way to wrap up the season if you're staying local. It would be also, if you're trying to get that last minute tune in before Rock the Rio, it would be, I'm going to say your last opportunity. And for the mini micro, on the cash prizes, it doesn't matter if you're Vortex or IAMI. So yeah, there's a lot going on this weekend for the Sonoma group. Money, money, money. And also, they asked me to poll the listeners and also those that race their series. There's a tentative date for a banquet of December 5th. And they're looking for your ideas. They've stressed that the banquet is really for the racers. What would you like to see? Some of the ideas they're tossing around is a free track day or a free practice day, again, on December 5th. Possibly supplying some food. One of the ideas was to have a barbecue, but we're going to have to can that idea as far as the series or the racers or the shops doing a barbecue, just because of the restrictions placed on the track. One from a catering standpoint and two from a COVID standpoint. But I know Kimberly is looking into options for bringing food into the track through their catering service. So again, December 5th, tentatively put that on your calendar. They were also talking about maybe doing an enduro race on that same day. Again, it's going to be an awards banquet of some sort. So they want to know, do you want to go to a facility, a banquet hall, and have a banquet? Which I'm not part of the organizing team. I'm not a great organizer, but I imagine there's probably a lot of COVID restrictions right now for indoor type places. I'm just kind of assuming that because it's been that way since February. So they're looking at, again, options: formal banquet or trackside banquet, open track day, with the possibility of some catering, some food brought in, etc. So I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Good thing there's a rewind button on the podcast. So all that's happening this weekend. And that's just the Rock Sonoma group. And to register, you can go to sanzarukarting.com. And that is their official series page. Again, sanzarukarting.com. And I'm hoping my microphone's not picking up my kid yelling in the background. If it is, just know my kid's yelling in the background about something. Not sure what. Wrong cartoon or something. All right, I'm going to go back to the calendar. So we have that going on. And then next week, Halloween. October 31st. We have that coming up. Then November 1st, Daylight Savings Time. November 3rd, get out there and vote. Apparently you can hear my daughter in the background. So November 3rd, get out and vote. There's a lot of propositions on the ballot. and about the information pamphlets have all gone out. If not, go online. You can find them online. So get out there and vote. So do your due diligence. Let's see here. And then after you vote, then you can leave for Vegas for Rock the Rio. And we're planning on going. Tickets are booked. Hotel rooms are booked. And that's Rock the Rio, November 4th through the 8th. So I was trying to get Garrett on the show at some point last week, but he just had a lot of stuff going on with wrapping up some final details. So maybe I can get him cornered and on the show this week so he can go into some of the specifics about Rock the Rio. They're already posting on their website, rockcupusa.com. They're already posting they have an app for registration, so it's going to be a touchless registration system. They have a COVID information sheet. Last week or the week before, they announced that the race is still taking place at the Rio, but the official hotel is going to be at Bally's. So it's going to be at Bally's. If you wanted to walk there, it's about a 5-minute walk. If you wanted to drive there, it's about a 2 or 3 minute drive, but it's actually on the other side of the freeway. So for those of you that have been to the Rock the Rio events, if you're in the pits looking at the track and you see the railroad tracks, right on the other side of the railroad tracks is Bally's. And there's some other area hotels that are across the street the other direction as well. So there are options, but it was official 2 weeks ago that the actual lodging for the host hotel is getting moved to Bally's, so it will not be at Rock the Rio because they have not officially opened yet, the actual hotel casino, but they are having the race in the Rock the Rio parking lot. So that is November 4th through the 8th. And like I said, we already got the tickets. We already got the rooms. We are planning on going. A lot of NorCal teams are planning on going. I was talking to Ron White. I know he's planning on going. I know SwedeTech is planning on going. Illuminos, I'm pretty sure they were planning on going. Let's see, who else was there? I'm kind of just naming the guys I just recently spoke to in the past day or two. So if I forgot it, Team GFC. Yeah, I'm really good for my sponsors there. So GFC, Gary Carlton, I know he is going, and he will also be at this weekend's race at Sonoma supporting his customers. So GFCkarting.com, he is also a calendar sponsor. And he was actually our first, if you will, team sponsor this year, where we started adding the teams to the calendars. So people could look at the NorCal Karters calendar and go, oh, cool, there's an event this weekend at Sonoma. Oh, I need parts. Oh, GFC Karting's going to be there. I'll give Gary a call and maybe he can bring this to the track for me. So hopefully the shops will find some value in that going into 2021. But yeah, Gary was our very first shop sponsor of the calendar. So it's we've been promoting his business for that reason. And again, he'll be at the Rock Sonoma event and Rock the Rio. And what else do we have here? I actually have a bunch of notes sitting in front of me, and I keep going back and forth over the notes. And then outside of that, I mean, yeah, our racing season will wrap up, at least on the Vortex side of things. Then we start thinking about Florida Winter Tour. And Andy Seisman, not Seisman. It's not Andy Seisman. It's Andy Seisman. And then his Challenge of the Americas kicking off in January as well. So, yeah, a little bit of a break here in the winter. But that's it. All right. I'm going to tell you this at the end of the podcast, and you're going to go, why didn't you tell me this at the beginning? But if you want to fast forward to the 24-minute mark, I'll give you a quick rundown of all the events happening right now. So Rock Sonoma, October 24th, 25th, at Sonoma. Their website, sanzarukarting.com. SANZARU, karting with a K.com. That's how you register. They're giving away money to Junior 100cc, which could be Vortex VLR or IAMI KA100. Senior 100cc, same engine platform, which is VLR or IAMI KA100. Vortex Mini and Vortex Micro, and those are also eligible if you run a IAMI product for the additional class prizes. And a random drawing on Sunday to the entries that participate on both Saturday and Sunday. One lucky racer will receive an additional $500. So the way I'm reading it, you could race on Saturday and crash out. You can come back on Sunday and crash out. And you can still win $500 if your name is drawn. So if you have a bad weekend, don't leave. Stick around. Stick around for the drawing. So yeah, that's going to be a total of an additional $1,500 in prizes. And I don't have their actually prize package for 2020 in front of me right now. But again, this is in addition to what they are doing. So I thought they were doing a test ride for one of the classes this year in a F4. I think that was one of the prizes. If I'm completely wrong, everybody can yell at me. But I thought that it was announced earlier in the year. So yeah, it's, you know what? 2021, I will make it an effort to reach out to all the tracks and race promoters that are sponsors. So I always have sitting in front of me their sponsor packages. Because one thing that always drove me nuts with one of the big racing associations out there, one of the cool things about that particular association was at the end of the event, there was the podiums. They would do random drawings. They would do random raffles. They gave away a lot of stuff. They gave away tires. They gave away gas. They gave away oils. And it always drove me nuts that I knew about it because I was at the track. And, but if you weren't at the track, you really didn't know what that particular series was giving away. And I mentioned it to him a few times, like, hey, that needs to almost be its own little separate press release. And send it out there and say, you know, Jimmy Bob won a can of C12 and Joe Bob won a set of tires. And I think a lot of times we take it as a racer. I know I've done it before. I've taken it for granted that these series promoters put a lot of effort into trying to bring added value to their series. But I think they kind of run out of time to promote themselves. And they're on to the next race trying to promote it to get entries back in. And what better way to promote your series than to start sending out, you know, doing a press release for your awards. So, NorCal Karter's goal for 2021. I will work on lists of our sponsors, if they're promoters, and their prize packages for each events. And let's see here. Mrs. Cameron is saying there is a prize for the 100cc champion, junior 100cc champ for the Rock Sonoma series, does receive a test in the F4. So I'm almost wondering if I can qualify. Maybe I can get some double header points and then qualify and then win and then go drive at F4. So yeah, there you have it. So prizes. I know I'm talking a lot about Sonoma because they are coming up this weekend. I know I mentioned a lot earlier about NCKRoadRacing.com because they have an event this weekend. They're also a sponsor. And again, I'm going to have Mark Morrison on from NCK next week. He's going to give us a recap of how the event went. And I'm really curious on how they pulled off for a number of different reasons. The biggest reason is I'm personally going to Vegas in a couple of weeks. And it'll be a good test to see how things go with a separate racing series. But if everything goes nice and smooth, then 2 weeks later shouldn't be any sort of issue. And again, that's nckroadracing.com, and their event is at Speed Vegas. And I had Todd Olcott on, and he, at the time of the podcast, it was a couple months ago, I think NCK Road Racing is going to be the first official series that will actually host an event at this private track. So go to speedvegas.com if you want to look at their layout. That's not a plug for them unless they want to send me a big check. But just to inform the racers, again, speedvegas.com. They also have a pretty decent YouTube channel. So if you've never seen the track before, you can go on YouTube, Speed Vegas. If you're into that whole influencer marketing, they have those people on there too, going around the track. But yeah, that should be really neat. I'm looking forward to talking to Mark next week, and he couldn't share too many details with me, but he was pretty excited with some of the names that are signing up and attending, and then also some of the spectators that are showing up. He's pretty excited about. So yeah, I'm going to keep my eye on that one. And let's switch back over to the calendar. So that's this weekend. And again, GFC Karting, he will be at Sonoma supporting his customers this weekend for the season finale at the Rock Sonoma race. Again, sanzarukarting.com. Next week, Halloween. And the following week, November 3rd, get out there and vote. You can vote ahead of time. I'm not going to tell you how to get your ballot in. I'm not going to get into politics. I don't care if you fold it up and make a paper airplane out of it. I don't know if that would be accepted or not, but who knows. But you do have to sign your ballots. So go on YouTube. You can watch videos on how to make sure your ballot is counted. There's also a website to track your ballot. So vote. And at the next presidential election, you can use me as a fill-in. I don't think I qualify this year, but I think I will in 4 years. So you can actually write my name in. I got some pretty solid political views. Pretty sure I can piss everyone off on both ends, on all ends. Even to my librarian friends that are out there. The ones that stay right down the middle. Let's see here. That's it. That's it. That's going to wrap up our 2020 season. So I will be on back next week, Monday. I will try to get Garrett Potter on from Rock Cup USA. If anyone has his other cell phone number, send it to me so I can call him. But we'll try to get Rock Cup USA. I'm drawing a blank on what to even call Garrett, but he's in charge of Rock Cup USA. We'll try to get him on as a primer. And watch out for videos this weekend at the Rock Sonoma stuff. I'll post some up. Sorry, Mrs. Cameron, I am not going to record Christian anymore because every time I've recorded him this year, he's DNF'd. So I will record other classes. Try to get some maybe some interviews going for wrapping up the season. If you have any suggestions for the Sanzaru group and Rock Sonoma on the banquet, reach out to Kimberly. Reach out to them as far as what do you prefer? Do you want to do a banquet, meaning a formal style banquet? Do you want to do a free practice track day with some sort of catered food? Do you want to do an endurance race? What do you want to do? So reach out to them. And yeah, that's it. I'm signing off. Everyone have a great evening.